Hi guys, my name's Damien Pilcher. I'm an IT support and services technician for Texcellence IT Services Albury Wodonga. As you would have been aware, you would have received an email with a Microsoft Teams invitation for Albury Business Connect. Basically, we handle the managed IT services for Albury Business Connect, including their Office 365, Azure Cloud, management, files, sharing, systems, collaboration, and services. Basically, this video is just to show you how to accept the invitation and as a guest user, and also to set up Microsoft Teams if you haven't installed it already, and just the basics of how to use it, how to utilize the features, and some know-how on the file system inside it, because as you would have noticed, the files that were shared originally to you guys have been moved from Dropbox to the new Microsoft OneDrive system, otherwise known as SharePoint for OneDrive Business. So I'll just give you a rundown of how that works inside Teams and how you can actually use it. So first of all, there's two things that you will need. One is the Microsoft Teams application. You can use it in a browser, but the desktop actual computer application is a lot more functional. And also two, you'll need a Microsoft account to authenticate when you actually sign into Teams. So first of all, as you can see, my browser's open. So to start, just go to Google search Microsoft Teams download. Click at the top link there, and you'll be on the page here. Note that you're at a .com site, so you'll be on the US Microsoft site. Click on downloads, and it'll ask you to switch to Australia, of course. It'll just switch over immediately. So go to download Teams for desktop. Now this is where the confusion sort of starts. What you want to do is make sure you download and install Teams for work or school, because the invitation that will be sent to you is for a work or school Microsoft 365 organisation. You need to use the work or school Teams app. Even if you're being invited, even if the email's been sent to an Outlook account or an @Live or Gmail address, it won't matter. You're using a work or school invitation, so it needs to be the work or school app. So click download Teams, and that will download it here. You might get a security warning, just say keep. Okay, just run and install it. This process might take a bit of time depending on your computer. It's generally pretty quick. So actually, now that that's taking a little bit longer than usual, oh no, we've got the blue wheel. One moment. Okay, cool. So what we need to do is you'll probably have this window pop up if you haven't already if you've already got your computer linked to a Microsoft account, like as in if you've connected it to a personal Microsoft account, or you connected it to your work or business Microsoft account. That's okay. Teams might automatically bring up your email address here to sign in with that account. Just ignore it. Just close the app down. Okay, so next thing, we need to access the email that was sent to you with your invitation link. So in this case, I've actually created I use a test Outlook account for this kind of purpose, for external sharing testing. So I'm just going to go to my email, Texcellence resource email. Bear with me one moment. I'm just going to sign into my Outlook account, which is office.com, of course. So as you can see here, the email Lisa has sent me with my invitation. Now I'm just pretending I'm just a member of the YBE committee. So Lisa's sent me the email for YBE, the Microsoft YBE Teams channel. So basically you'll see an email like this with a big Microsoft Teams banner. All you need to do is click on Open Microsoft Teams in the email, and it'll take you to another page where it gives you the option to open Microsoft Teams. So normally you'll see a little dialog box pop up here saying open up the Teams desktop app, and it'll ask you if you want to it'll actually give you a dialog box if you want to make sure that Teams opens up every time you click a link from a browser. That's optional if you want to tick that. So yeah, it'll pop up sometimes. I've already enabled it, so it didn't appear for me, but it will probably if you haven't done it before. So pretty much now that you've clicked that link, that's joined your Teams authentication to that invite that Lisa sent you. So click Get Started. Now here's where it's going to ask you to sign in. So I'm just going to sign in with my Texcellence account. Now basically, when you first create a Microsoft account or any other organization email account, most likely you would have two-step verification on. By default, from what I recall, Microsoft now enforces two-step verification to be set up. So basically I'm just going to send a code to my mobile just to get access to it. Okay, so that's authenticated. Now we're going to start up Microsoft Teams. So now that we've opened that up, there we go. So pretty much, as you can see, I've opened up that, I've clicked on the email invite link that was sent to me for the YBE Committee Microsoft Teams channel, and I've opened up Microsoft Teams and authenticated it with my personal Microsoft account that invitation was sent to. And as you can see, I now have access to the YBE Committee channel, and you can see the Teams interface. And if you look up here and click on the top right under your thing, under your account preference here, you'll see your display name for your email, your Microsoft account, and you'll see that you have guest status. So that basically you are now a full guest user with the YBE Committee inside Orbit Business Connect's Microsoft 365 organization. So now that we're in Teams, you can see the layout, and you'll notice that you can see the YBE Committee team here, and you can also see this here called General. Basically, the general thing here is actually called a channel. So this is a Microsoft team, and this is a channel. So by default, when a Microsoft team is created, it creates a channel, and by default, it creates one channel called General. So to access the files that you would normally access in Dropbox, all you need to do is click on the General channel and click on the Files tab. In here, you'll see all the files that were in the YBE Committee Dropbox originally. They've now fully been migrated to Microsoft OneDrive or SharePoint when it comes to business use. So SharePoint is basically the business version of Microsoft OneDrive. So in here, you'll be able to see all the files that were originally in Dropbox, and you can use them, access them freely, view them freely, edit them as you see fit, share them with other people, depending on the permission levels that Lisa has granted to the YBE committee members or to you as a guest. All that is pretty much controlled from either us at Texcellence Support as global administrators for their Office 365 organisation, or from Lisa and her staff based on their decisions. So pretty much, as you can see, you can basically navigate this just like your standard file explorer, so like desktop, documents, pictures, etc. And if you go in there, you'll see general files. You'll notice that has the Word, Excel, document format, as you can see with the little icons. Let's say if we find a document, so I'll just find an example document, something that's not too sort of confidential. Bear with me one moment. Where are we? So let's go events. Okay, so we've got a YBE networking activities and ideas. So this is a Word document. So by default, like you would navigate in Dropbox and open files, if you want to open this file and have a look at it, or if you want to edit it or do something with it, simply click on it. And what will happen is, in Microsoft Teams, inside the application itself, it will open up Microsoft Word or Excel or whatever application is assigned to that file. Now, you'll find that in Teams, it actually works the same as what the apps do in the browser. So it actually kind of works like online, like the browser does. So what you can do, instead of using Microsoft Word or any of the apps inside Teams, you can actually use those, actually open the files inside the desktop app of Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. So if you've got a license and a fully activated Microsoft 365 desktop suite installed on your computer, such as like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, whatever, you can actually open those files up inside those apps and edit those files as you see fit. When you do that though, any changes you make to that file will save back to the file inside Microsoft Teams in that document library. So to get out of here, you just need to close it up there on the top right, and it just takes you back to the file navigation. So let's just go back to that Word document just to show you a few things briefly. As you can see, you've got your full Word ribbon. If you click this little arrow down, it'll actually expose the entire ribbon with all the most of the general features that most people are familiar with Word Excel. You can actually pretty much, depending on the level of permissions, you can edit the document. I don't know why there's nothing here, sorry. Also, because it's an online system and it's cloud-based, there's actually online features enabled in this file, or in this file system, such as comments. You can add comments to the document, you can start a conversation, other people will see those comments and they can approve those comments, resolve or add further comments, such as maybe we can add a paragraph here or something like that, or make this bolder. Excuse me. You can also download the file offline, so if you do download it, that file will not be linked, that copy that you download won't be linked to the original file, so be wary of that. Also, you can copy the link to that file, which is actually the link to the SharePoint document library of that file, so the online web link for that file, and you can share it via email to somebody else based on their access. But the link that you give them will either, depending on the editing, depending on the permissions they have to that file, is whether they're going to be linked to that original file or not. So basically, that's pretty much the rundown of how your files will now be accessible and how you basically navigate them. With regards to the system itself, instead of actually working in the Teams application, some people might find it slow, some people might find it frustrating, or you might just want to work on your computer locally. You might not want to use the app. So what you can do is you can actually synchronize this document library, or sorry, this one, the actual parent document library, which is the general channel. You can actually sync these folders locally to your computer's file system using the OneDrive application. It's actually not active on my computer at the moment, but you can actually use the built-in OneDrive application, which is what this is actually using, to actually sync the files locally here to your computer on the sidebar here. So what you can actually do is, if you click the sync button just here, what will happen is it'll open up your OneDrive app automatically, and because you're syncing it from within your work or school account that you're a guest of, it automatically authenticates your OneDrive account and signs in. So what happens is when you do that and authenticate the OneDrive application, it'll synchronize it and it'll appear just on the side here with a new icon called SharePoint. So once you do that, you'll be able to access those files inside your local directory here. Basically, just like any file system like that, you'll be able to see them all synced there, and they'll actually have what's called a little status column here with either a cloud icon, a green tick icon, or a syncing icon, like a little arrow icon. So you can work on those files just like you would when you use Dropbox or Google Drive. You can install how you install Google Drive apps and Dropbox and that, and you can actually download the files to your computer, and basically when you modify a file, it uploads those changes. Exactly the same principle here. You just sign in, let it synchronize, and basically what will happen is it'll synchronize those files to your local Windows Explorer. So instead of using the Microsoft Teams app altogether, you can actually do that. Some people find it a bit easier instead of just working in a program like this, because they might find it a bit slower. If you do need assistance with that, please let Lisa know, because I can provide another tutorial on that. Now, as for the additional features, it's a pretty simple, straightforward application. I don't think most of you are going to be using this to its full potential, primarily because Lisa's using this as an avenue for communication and collaboration with sharing the files for different committees. However, basically you can access these files as you see fit. You can also chat to other guests and team members that have been invited to this YBE channel or whatever other committee you guys will be a member of. Being a guest account, you do have a certain level of membership to Aubrey Business Connect's organisation. So if you do want to send a chat message to somebody, another guest that you know of that is invited, or another staff member of ABC, simply type their name. As you can see, Lisa Hastings. I've just typed Lisa. That's her display name for her Office 365 account. And you can just start a new conversation and chat away and say, say something that you need to, if you want to catch up with her, or can we catch up Wednesday for the catch up meeting or something like that. You can do anything you want. You can send messages. You can actually upload files. Depending on the level of permissions and access rights, you can send messages, upload files, send GIFs, anything you need to. So all that can be done with whoever else is a guest that you know of. You just need to type their initial name and see if they'll automatically populate if they're a member and if they're an actual staff member of ABC. So that basically covers the bare bones of Microsoft Teams. A lot of you probably would be using this application if you're signed up with Office 365 in your organisation. There is a lot more integrations, there's a lot more features and services that can be used with Microsoft Teams. I think Aubrey Business Connect use it a lot. They work in it pretty much all the time, like within their whole business structure. They have lots of different channels and committees that they collaborate with, and they have a very set, strict sort of permission structure with who sees what and how they collaborate and share files. Because it's a great communicative tool, and I think Microsoft's implementation was for it to replace Skype for Business, and it's really, really good. With saying that, also you'll probably have the ability to do Teams meetings. So generally you might get invitations to do a Microsoft Teams meeting, which would utilize your camera and also your microphone, etc. Lisa may, or some ABC staff or committee members may send you a Teams link. By default, what will happen is it will open up the Teams Work or School application here, and it'll utilize your application to run that Teams meeting. So if you do want additional tutorials, please send your feedback and request if you'd like to, if I can run some test meetings and show you how it works, and you can go from there. So depending on what access, to what channel that Lisa or what channel you get invited to, that's pretty much the rundown of how you access your channel and how you access your files. So as I say in a perspective, think of this as Dropbox, but with a much more versatile application and more versatile additional services that you can utilize for communication, collaboration, and file sharing. Thanks, guys. I'd love your feedback if you want to pass it on to Lisa. First video I've ever had to do for training. But yeah, with regards to your Microsoft accounts, just a note, anyone who's not familiar with creating a Microsoft account, because it's a Microsoft app, you do need a Microsoft account to authenticate it. Just a side note, you don't need to use an @live, at Hotmail or @Outlook address. You can use your own Telstra address, Gmail address if you do want to create a Microsoft account. Best way to access it is, I'll just go to Edge for a second. So the best way to do it, if you do need to create a Microsoft account, just watch the screen here. I'm just going to go to office.com. So as you can see, it's asking me to sign into my Microsoft account. If you don't have one, just go create one. And basically you can enter whatever email address you use. If you try to enter a custom email address, you can enter a custom email address here. If it is in use already by somebody else around the world or in the country, whatever, it will notify you in big red and bold writing. However, you can use your own email address, such as john.smith@123.com, whatever email address you have, john.smith@gmail.com, it doesn't matter. However, if you can't figure out what email address you want or have or whatever, just go get new email address, and you can just type in whatever name you want for your email and just choose your Microsoft domain, and then just go from there and just follow the prompts. Right, okay, let's just try an example here, just so I can show those people who aren't familiar. So as you can see, you create a password, and then basically the next steps will be date of birth, two-step verification, authentication setups. It's pretty much straightforward. If you do need further training, please let me know. I can provide another tutorial video. Once you've done that, You set up your two-step verification, which was that text code to my mobile system. Please ensure that you do that. Cybersecurity is a big thing in this generation, and it is stuff, things, accounts, everything is very easily hackable if there is an additional security verification. So I recommend doing it for everything that you have a password for. If it does offer two-step verification, please do it. Otherwise, that's basically it, guys. So if you do have any issues, please, as I said before, let Lisa know. If you currently have signed up for Microsoft Teams already, but you're having issues with accessing any files or systems within the committee or your invitation link, please let Lisa know so I can and also try and isolate what the issue is and pass it on to her or pass it on to any of the ABC staff so they can forward it to me, and I'll be able to provide a solution for you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.